This morning I was sat out there about 7:30 when it was a little dark and the sun was just coming up, enjoying a coffee without somebody rushing me or telling me do this or do that.
It's the mundane, everyday tasks Derek Twyman still finds unfamiliar living in Toronto.
Getting up in the morning, you got to fix your own coffee, fix breakfast. You got to remember to do them things. You know what I mean? It's like most of the time it's just there.
In 20 different prisons across North Carolina, his days were dictated by the system. He was told what to wear, when to eat, when to sleep.
I'm used to getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning for 30 years and standing at my door for count. So a lot of times I'll hear any kind of noise, I'm awake. So I might wake up at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. Luckily this morning I slept till about 7:30.
Growing up, adjusting to change was tough. The 54-year-old Canadian citizen left the country as a teenager. His family packed up and moved from Oakville, Ontario to North Carolina, where his parents bought a furniture store.
And then you've got peer pressure and things like that. Well, let's go do this or let's go do that, and it escalates into more and more and more. Next thing you know, you're committing a crime or assisting in committing a crime.
Those crimes were a string of nonviolent home robberies for which he was handed 4 consecutive life sentences, totaling 160 years. He thought he would never get out until lawyers in Canada and the States took an interest.
My release date's 2056. I won't even be alive. So you're thinking, that can't be right. So you fight and try to make sense of it. So the only way you can make sense of it is through the courts and try to fight it and send out letters to people and try to find some help with it.
Hi Shane, how are things in the legal world? Hoping all is well.
Shane Martinez, now an established human rights lawyer in Toronto, has kept 10 years worth of letters between him and Twyman. He still remembers stumbling upon an unusual online ad as a law student. A Canadian man imprisoned for nearly 2 decades at the time, trying to raise awareness about his case.
The length of the sentence really that was the hook, right? To think that for a completely nonviolent property-related offense, that someone could die in prison. That was the biggest thing.
The young law student lobbied politicians, started a postcard campaign on campus, even had Twyman call in a number of times on his campus radio show. Little did Martinez know Twyman would reach out to another lawyer in Halifax years later, part of an organization helping people reform after prison.
Maybe there's something I can do to help.
I know you can help a lot of people. I came back to my office sometime in June of 16, and there was a typical pink slip. Derek Twyman called, in jail in North Carolina, heard about 7-Step, hope to talk to you. Everyone else who hears his story, you immediately have a sense of injustice and want to do whatever you can to see what you can do for the guy.
Twyman's family, all in North Carolina, connected a lawyer in their state with the Canadians. Together, the team continued to push American officials to secure his release.
He found these people, out of thin air kind of thing, and they read the stories and read the communications and felt that it was necessary to get involved. You couldn't buy the support that he has at this point.
27 years and 4 months after he was first locked up, Twyman was free, only to have immigration detention pick him up right away. 120 days after that, with no explanation, Twyman was put on a plane back to Canada.
How you doing? You good?
Good to be back.
Nice to be back. Yeah.
The customs officer and what she said to you, can you tell me about that?
Just a little overwhelming. We came through and she said, welcome home. That was nice.
Hey, it's Shane. How you doing? I'm good. I have someone here that might want to say hello to you.
Yeah, everything was good. It was all pretty smooth.
The second person Twyman spoke with as a free man, his older brother, Kevin.
They said I was permanently barred from America. I told them that was great.
That was probably one of the best days for a long time. Mom didn't get to see it. And that was just, that's really bad. That his mom passed before he could, see him out of jail.
You want to take your first selfie?
Sure. if I can figure out how to do it. There it is.
Yeah. And then you just see that one right there? Just go like that.
There it is.
Right. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of been a little overwhelming since then, but I'm getting there.
How so overwhelming?
Well, I guess this interview for one, or trying to navigate through the town and the new phone. I know when I got locked up, the phones were the size of a shoebox. These are my prison boots here that I left with and left America in, and so I ended up spending a couple $100 just on a pair of boots and a pair of shoes. But I know wearing them, they fit a whole lot better than the prison boots. Everybody's told me to just throw the prison boots over the balcony out here.
Now that he's back, Twyman's learning just how different Toronto 2017 is.
I think the prices, I'm kind of shocked on the prices. They might be triple what I used to paying or used to seeing.
He knows he'll have to get a job soon, hoping the skills he picked up in prison will help.
OW?
I've taken graphic design,
Out of work.
taught ESL, English Second Language, GED class. I was the assistant editor of a newsletter at one of the prisons. Teacher's aide in the sewing plant where they made the clothes for the prison. It's just I need a starting point. People are going to look and say, oh, this guy's been in prison for 30 years. We don't want him. Not over this guy that just got out of college. Why would we pick him? So that could be a problem.
His other problem, finding a place to live in Toronto, no less, with the help of the John Howard Society. Right now, he's staying with a friend of one of the lawyers.
There's definitely a lot of barriers that individuals face, especially in a situation like this. The biggest barrier that I've seen, just overall the discrimination, the view that people have on, maybe women or men who've been in conflict with the law, the stigma that comes with that. I think housing is the key component to everything else.
And he's still trying to put the last few decades behind him.
So when you get in a room with all the lights off and it's quiet, you think automatically something's wrong. Why is there not sound? Why is nobody yelling or screaming? So you kind of a little bit on edge because you're so quiet. Anytime you were in prison and everything got quiet, you knew it was getting ready to be a problem somewhere.
Arriving at Dufferin Station.
Despite all this, it's his outlook that has everyone who fought for his release convinced if anyone can succeed, it's him. You're able to really not harbor any grudges or bitterness about what happened. What do you think contributes to that?
I don't know, it's probably just the way I was brought up. Just because he gave me a sentence and I disagreed with the sentence, so I can't fault him for that.
Once he's settled, Twyman wants to start a nonprofit so he can help the hundreds of Canadians like himself, imprisoned abroad and hoping for a fresh start. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.